Hey everyone, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. I'm just doing a little bit of a hobby hangout. If you are interested, go ahead and drag out your paintbrushes and your models, and we're going to get a little bit of progress done. So I'm doing two things tonight. I'm going to go straight to the downward cam. And basically, if you didn't know, I am super into Vanguard chamber stuff. And so what I have today is 10 Vanguard Hunters. So it's enough, the way they're set up is to be 2 units of 5. And they could either be one big unit or, no, 2 smaller ones. So, yeah. And at the same time, I am trying a new to me method for cleaning my paintbrushes. So we'll see how this goes. But I've never actually, like, washed them off in acetone before, because I've heard mixed things about it. But I got a bunch of old crap brushes that I'm going to try and do that thing on. And I'm kind of excited about it. I'm trying to see if I can restore some of these. Because if you watch the show enough, you know that I'm terrible to my brushes. Absolutely. And so the idea is just acetone is just breaking down everything that's on them. Let's see. Let's throw another one in there. There we go. And we'll just let that sit for a bit. But this one, I did a little test one here before the show, and it cleaned it up really well. So, yeah. Primate in the chat. Hello, everybody. Not gonna wait for contrast. I'm only painting heroes from the moment until then. Well, that's a good point. The thing about contrast paints is I've seen. They showed a picture. Let me see if I can find it here. Herp. Oh, opened the wrong program. Of course I did. And we'll go here. We'll screen share. Where is it at? It's one of the more recent of the 9 billion articles they've had regarding contrast paints. Meet the range. I swear it's. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So if we look at this guy, this is their teal that they are able to achieve with the contrast paints. And it looks cool. It is a cool thing. It's just not mine. It doesn't fit my dudes. And it's just not my favorite. So actually what my plan is, for the most part, I'm not waiting on anything for the contrast paints to come out. I don't have the patience. I'm not a waiter. What I'm going to do is basically keep doing all of the, like the priming and the turquoise the way that I do it, because I like mine more. And then for everything else, I'm happy to do the contrast paints with. I guess, honestly, when I think about the contrast paints, the things that I want to do with them is, you know, I'll prime them and do the turquoise the same way. But then for all the little bits and bobs that I don't like doing, like, for example, you know, junk on his belt or something like that, like I will use the contrast paints for that. So that's kind of the idea that I am going for. Mainly because I just like it for the small stuff. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I am working on here. Primate, my mouse wheel is kind of janky right now, so I don't use that little gimmick. Let me see here. It's not working quite right here. So yeah, I saw this on a YouTube's tutorial of someone who just kind of restored a few brushes with acetone, breaking up the paint that's inside of them. That gets lodged in there over time. So we'll do that. Let me grab my turquoise here and we'll get started. Let's see. Yep. It has been a very eventful week. Let's see. Well, I guess a couple of weeks, because the Slush Battle Tome came out, and then Forbidden Power, and in between then, I painted the 2,000 point Stormcast Army in about 2.5 weeks, sum total. But, you know, Army in a Week was kind of the show name, but I did a little bit before I did that. And then, is this the Warhammer Weekly Waiting Room? Yeah, sure, it can be if you want. But, yeah, let's see. Yeah. just doing a whole heaping ton of stuff, so I kind of fell behind on videos, and I just didn't have time to get one out today, which was a real bummer, because I like making videos. That's all right. There'll be more. Right now in the hopper, I have some stuff planned for Forbidden Power, as well as it's a big thing. I don't know, there's new stuff for new folks as well. Little content for them. That's awesome. Always trying to aim towards getting new folks in the hobby. It's always been the goal. Now let's see here. Remember how much I love painting Plague Marines? I should work on a hero for a local painting contest, but I can't pull myself away. Yeah, anything Nurgle is just a ton of fun to paint because there's so much character there. Like all the little bits and bobs and gross things they have around them. Absolutely. It's kind of like if I ever do a like a Maggotkin army, like it's going to be full Blight Lords, minimal demons. Like I'll summon them in, but for the most part, I want it to be the immortal stuff, and I just want to go hog wild on the gross bits. Make them match my Glotkin. I think that'd be kind of fun. One day. I'll be honest, this is usually the point where I would sell an army. Like, I get a fully painted list, played a few times, and this time, at this point, when I had my Beastly Chaos, I was already, like, kind of done with them. But, I have just been all in on the Stormcasties, and I've just been enjoying the heck out of it. I think it's because I love the paint scheme. Like, more than a recent paint scheme I've had, I just really enjoy the colors I chose. Because I went with a brighter turquoise than GW does. They don't do the purple and gold like I do, and I didn't realize this until I looked at the battle tome, but like the actual like secondary color for Celestial Vindicators is like Screamer Pink or whatever like that. They're really dark. Almost like a maroon type color. So yeah. Let's see. Sean Dog, hello, hello. I'm about to graduate high school and I'm hoping to get the core rules and some Idoneth Deepkin help me finally start getting into AOS tabletop. Well, welcome. Yeah, dude. It's cool stuff. Idoneth's a great faction. And Starbox is cool. But yeah, welcome. It's a you know, the core rules. It depends on why you want it, but it's not nearly as necessary as like your army book and models. But if you're just super into the art and the lore, then yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's see. I was watching some of your lore videos the other day. I think I heard you say this is my favorite army 4 or 5 times. I probably have. Yep. Honestly, to be super honest, this is the problem of why if a smarter Doug wouldn't run a YouTube channel about Age of Sigmar lore, is because I fall in love with whatever I'm talking about at the time. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example of an army that I just had no interest in until about like Sylvaneth. Like during Sylvaneth week, I was just like, man, I could do one of these armies. This is gonna be pretty cool. And then the second that week was over, I like, you know, gave myself like a, you have to wait. I'm basically been forcing myself like, if you still want this army in a month, then yes, go ahead and grab it. But rarely does the hype last that long. I will say though, this is, I was joking with the guys from Rerolling Ones that like, this is the most content I've ever been in terms of like, I have this painting project I'm excited about, and I'm not looking at anything else. And I'm not looking at things, not like trying to keep myself. I'm just looking at everything going like, there's a local guy clearing out a Seraphon army for dirt cheap. And I had this moment where I was like, man, I haven't done Seraphon yet. That could be fun to paint. I was like, you know what? I don't want that. I'm good. I'm happy. At some point I do want to do a Seraphon army, but not, I don't know. Let's see here. We're going to get caught up on some sleep now that Doug is streaming. Guess I'll do some details on that Famous Slash. Well, don't let me keep you. It'll be here whenever you're awoken. But yes, the Faintest Slash is cool as all get out. I don't know if you guys have seen Vince Ventrella from Warhammer Weekly. His Faintest Slash, he didn't attach the bull head in the center and instead slipped in a piece of artwork of Slaanesh and chains to make it look like it's a portal to directly to Slaanesh, and it looks incredible. Some would say baller. Okay, let's see. Primate. Teepkin is my favorite lore of an army. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah. I like them. I think they're an interesting one where their lore will only get cooler the more we learn about Teclis and Tyrion. Like, it is cool, period, in the story, and it will also improve and get more deep the more we learn about these other characters that are super exciting. I'm excited about that. Let's see. I see. Phoenix Kelly, hello. The official sacrosanct scheme of social indicators was not real good, if you ask me. I like what you did. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't. So I kind of didn't look at the book when I started painting them. I just did it off of memory, and I, honestly thought that they had like white outfits, and I looked at the book much later to see how they painted like an evocator specifically. I was like, oh, these guys look super different. And I'm like, okay, well, it kind of works for my benefit because, if I go to an event or like that, I don't want to feel obligated to run Celestial Vindicator rules, which I wouldn't. But I can be like, yeah, they're different enough. Different enough. Let's see. So you're going to play Idneth, but I'm committing myself too much. Sylvaneth, Stormcast, and Khorne. Ooh, I actually committed myself to playing a little bit of Sylvaneth as well. Not as a full army, but doing an allied force for my Stormcast with some Sylvaneth in a battle report that Rerolling Ones is going to do here pretty soon. Because we found out that, like, so if you don't know, like, the Sylvaneth Battle Tome was super leaked by accident. I'm sure someone just didn't change the release date to match the physical delays of the copies. But basically the way it pans out is, like, if I just drop the Celestin Prime, whenever the new rulebook comes out, that's a Tree Lord and a Branch Witch. Maybe it's I think it's a Branch Witch. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. So like, oh yeah, let's just do that. Ally and some trees. Plus, it's a fun way to look at a different book, It's easy to get caught up just doing Stormcast when you're doing Stormcast. Let's see. Going with Idneth because I used to play High Elves when I was really little, and because of my love of cavalry. That's awesome. I used to play High Elves as well. Love it. Well, you'll certainly enjoy the Deepkin mobility for sure when it comes to that. Because eels are so hot right now, as anyone can tell you. Let's see. Real One's Jack is in the chat. Hello. Have you heard of the Legends of the Painty Men podcast? If not, you should check it out. You'll thank me later. I have. I've listened to quite a bit of it. They took a little break here recently and then came out with an episode like last night. Not a huge fan of Q&A episodes, but I'm working my way through it. Yeah, I do enjoy it. Some episodes are definitely better than others, but on the whole, I certainly do. If you in the chat are curious, it is two comedians. It is John Roy, and I know his last name is DeWitt because I was just looking at his account, and I don't know why I can't think of his last name. His first name, I mean. Andrew DeWitt. But yeah, so two comedians talking about Age of Sigmar, and it's full of toilet humor and adolescent jokes, and it is absolutely a blast because it just makes fun of this little subculture, if you will. And I enjoy it quite a bit. a bunch of stuff that if your significant other was to walk in and hear it out of context, they'd be like, what in the heck? And I like that kind of stuff. You see, I'm just going to put the brush down for a second and check in on the stuff that I'm cleaning. This is coming apart pretty darn well. Ooh, yeah. Showed us a long time ago. I way cleaned it up. Nice. Fish. Hi, Doug. How'd the tourney go? Tourney went well. I went 2-1, which is always my goal. I only lost to Jack in the final round, playing that narrative mission. But turns out we misread the rules wrong when we were doing our tourney prep episode that I think you were a part of. I think I rolled my chair over this guy. He's all bent. And it turned out that it was a lot less of a one-sided battle than we had originally thought. So it actually ended up being a total blast. And I got favorite opponent. But I was like second place for everything else. I was second place for best general. I was second place for best painted. But I ended up winning on favorite opponent, which I'm super happy about. Coming in second on best painted is huge when I did the whole thing in 2.5 weeks. So, yeah. So I'm looking for ways to improve things to make my army stand out a little bit. I actually went ahead and ordered some of the Stormcast heads from Forge World. Just to kind of make my army look a little different. I want to be mostly helmetless. Not entirely, exclusively, but mostly. And yeah, just add some character that way. Let's see. Take over Mars. What is it, yo? What's up? Finishing my War Shrine for my Immortal Slanesh army. Sweet. So, man, I refuse to try Idneth until they are struck out of my grudge book. Ooh. Let's see. Real English Jack. Weird note. Let's put him in. Opened for John Roy at a comedy club near Seattle a few years back. That's awesome. Okay. Slanesh will be the best army after Skaven gets a nerf. Ooh. And the Slanesh FAQ is a hot mess. Yeah. We, So I found it. I read through a few parts of it, and some of the stuff I'm like, oh, that's a cool, interesting idea. And then some stuff I'm like, I don't know what the heck you're trying to say. So I think that one, it's going to need an FAQ to the FAQ. Part of it is, I despise one-word answers when it comes to FAQs, or like, at least that level of information. And there was a few of those where I'm just like, just tell me what you're thinking. What you thinking? What you thinking about? You know what I mean? Just, I don't know. Or it wouldn't have taken a whole lot more work to be like, help me understand why you say no. So maybe we can avoid a few questions in the future and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was, I'm not one of those people who like can look at an FAQ and be like, this is how it dramatically affects the army. I have no idea. I just look at like, what was the question? Do I feel like the answer satisfactorily answered that question? There's a few of them like, no, you just raised 10,000 more. One of the ones we were chatting about was basically if Slanesh has things that like make you fight the end of the combat phase. And so the question was, with those things that quote unquote fight at the end of the combat phase, if they then pile in and bring in someone who wasn't in combat before, does that person who got pulled in get to fight? Because it is, quote unquote, the end of the combat phase, meaning that theoretically all combat should have been done by now, but now you just introduced a new opponent. Does it, you know what I mean? And kind of doing that back and forth. And the answer, like, I get it. It took me a long time to really dwell on it, but it's going to be a source of frustration for tournament goers, I think, like that, because now we're getting to the point where we need a phase, like we need a combat and then a post-combat phase, and the post-combat phase is where all of the end of the phase things happen, and you resolve them that way. So it's a little goofy. I'm not sure. I mean, they've had rules before that were, your opponent must fight last in the combat phase, going back to Bone Splitters. Like, they had rules that would do that. Like, it was always against monsters, but the rule idea existed. So I'm not sure why all the sudden explosion, like, that's the rule design direction they decided to go. I don't quite understand. But when you introduce, more than one army with those things, you raise a bevy of questions. So I don't know. It was just interesting. I'm one of those people, like, I don't, if you want to, like, do in-depth talks about, like, FAQs and how to balance a game and that kind of stuff, channels like Heywo Twitch and Warhammer Weekly are fantastic for that. Me, I kind of just sit back and take it as it comes, basically, and just go with whatever GW says. But that being said, like I was saying before, like, it's not about do I like this rule or not. It's like, I just don't feel like that was a satisfactory answer that they gave, and it just raised a lot more questions. I don't know. It was a little hard of one of an FAQ. I think most people are agreeing with me based on your comment as well. Okay, sorry, I'm still catching up on comments, so I haven't missed the new one. I'm just going slow. Let's see. Seraphon are cool, but I'd be much more tempted with them with new sculpts. I agree. Let's see. Let me grab a new guy here. What's your prediction of the next battle tome besides Sylvaneth? Question by Dan Morris. Ooh, next battle tome. Maybe a death thing? I don't know, because, like, the ending of Forbidden Power sets it up to where there could be a death release, whether it's a whole new faction or just like a big epic model for an existing one. I'm not quite sure. We know there's another death battle tome coming, but no details on that. That would be cool. It would seem weird if they, like, served up that volleyball of lore and then completely just went, now we're going to talk about dwarves. You know what I mean? It just, the two events just kind of would go together so well if they released whatever busted out of the Storm Vault, which I'll cover in a lore video next week. But we don't actually know what it is, but I'll cover the story of it busting out. So yeah, that would be probably my guess. I mean, it just makes the most sense. Then again, not everything they do makes the most sense, so it'd be what it be. Let's see. Kenzie, I'm allying Sylvaneth with Stormcast as well. Can't wait to see how you do with them. Got me a Tree Lord today from a friend. Sweet. Yeah, I'm actually borrowing shoes from Reeling Ones because his Sylvaneth are beautiful and, more importantly, already painted. And if I like them, I'll grab a Start Collecting box. Like, yeah, why no? I don't know if I would grab a whole army, but can do something cool to make a match. I guess what I'm moving towards direction-wise, and I'm sure people will scoff because I trade armies so much, but I want to create my own personal lore for my Celestial Vindicators. And here's the thing. We know that their city, quote-unquote, that they defend, that their big storm host thing is at, is a place called Vindicarum. It's hardly mentioned at all. It's in the Seasons of War campaign for about 8 seconds, and then is mentioned in the Slaanesh Battle Tome as a place where Slaanesh manipulated the Vindicators to killing innocent people. We don't know anything about it, and so I wanted to basically work on developing what I think Vindicarum would be like, and so that's going to be these guys, and I have I think I'm working on a trade with a gentleman to get a one of the old Citadel Fortresses sets. If you haven't seen those, go look it up online. Where it's basically just castle walls and stuff like that. But yeah, making a little display board for these guys so I can take it to my local events and that kind of stuff. Point is, how do, like, I've been thinking about a lot more, like, how do allies fit into that? If I give them a firm, like, place, you know, Vindicarum, it is the place where my dudes are from and currently defending and all that stuff. How do my allies fit into that? And so Vindicarum is in the realm of metal, and I could do some realm of metal themed Sylvaneth, and that would totally work. They just settled there and started making friends. And so if anyone's curious, I'm doing to get my teal the way I like it when I paint my models, I do 2 layers of Hydra Turquoise by Army Painter. It's basically like a shade or so brighter than Sotek Green, and I find that when I put Colia Green shade on it, it just takes to the wash a little bit better. So I'm going to go back to the chat here. Like I said, I haven't skipped anyone. I'm just really far behind. I don't need to be thinking about another army, but Slanesh looks so cool. Yeah, it does, man. And having played against them, just once now. Like, well, I played against Slanesh multiple times. But with the new book, I've only been once. I think they got some game. They definitely have weaknesses. I mean, there's going to be a period of time when folks need to adjust to what is now the new hotness. Personally, I don't... some other online commentators are like, the sky is falling, the activation wars have begun, like talking about how now multiple things have, fight the end of the phase or start at the beginning and whatever like that. I don't think it's that bad. People are very doom and gloom and dramatic, but I do think that they bring something super unique to the game, and I just love it. I know, who would have ever thought a YouTuber would be dramatic, but it's what it is. Let's see. Is this live right now? Yep, this is me. I'm live. By the way, I noticed the 2 mercenary factions are both ones with cool models that could be accused of being samey. I imagine a lot of folks could be tempted with a few units. I think that is a fantastic view on them. You know, people want to explore the stuff. I'll give myself a few Fire Slayers, but I don't want a whole army because I don't want too many dudes all looking the same. Because I think that they did help Fire Slayers in the sense of, I think you need fewer models now from what I seem to be understanding. But they're all still naked dude, beard, weapon. Like, you know, I mean, those are your defining features, is what weapon is he holding. So if that doesn't interest you in terms of it's not enough diversity of models and things like that, yeah, totally. Trying to think of what other ones would be great for that. I definitely think there's going to be a Free Peoples one, just because humans have just been talked about on all sides. You know, working for Chaos, there's the ones in Death from Nagash Undying King. Like, you know, I would just love it if there was just a human element available to everyone. That'd be a missed opportunity if they don't. But, I don't know. Let's see. Have we heard when the new GHB will drop next month? Nope. No, my understanding, because they delayed the release of the White Dwarf a little bit, my understanding is it'll be towards the end of the month. And what I'm looking forward to is my hope and my prayer is that they're going to drop the GHB and then leave AOS alone for a while and let the dust settle, and then the meta and all the internet commentators to do what they're going to do, and then just let it chill for a while. because I am on overload right now between trying to do the book club thing and make videos to keep up with whatever's coming out. Oh, so much. Not to mention actually like participate in the hobby, paint stuff, and yeah. Let's see. Vindicarum is there Stormkeep? What realm is it in? Realm of Metal. Come on. Again, I know I'm pretty far behind on the comments here. Tell you what, let that first layer dry. I'm gonna hammer through these. Oh, actually, I got caught up real quick there. Okay. I think we may actually see a new Seraphon Battle Tome. One of the rumor engine picks look very Seraphon-y, and their Battle Tome is super old. You know, I do think we're going to see a Seraphon Battle Tome in the future. I have nothing to back that up with, but that's just my personal thought. What I will say, though, is I think there will be, just like there has been with the Sylvaneth leak, much weeping and gnashing of teeth. I'm not looking forward to that, because people have played so long with one strategy and build concept and that kind of thing. And I don't know if people, I don't know. There's always that percentage of folks who are just going to be super unhappy no matter what. I once told Shu from Rolling Ones that Games Workshop could put a $20 bill into every box of models and someone would complain about how it was folded. And I stand by that. So it's just the nature of people. But what you know, it's like not every battle tome is going to be the best thing since sliced bread. And I think the most important thing, frankly, is just keeping an open mind. When you see new rules, you're like, I don't know. They made Slan worse. Yeah, but do you have like real allegiance abilities? A whole list now instead of just something random? I don't know. Stuff like that. Take it as a whole. Let's see. Off to go watch Warhammer Weekly. Bye. See you later, James. Yeah, this wasn't an attempt to compete or anything like that. I was just getting some hobby done. And I thought, why not turn my camera on? Chat with people, because I didn't get a video out today. Just been so overdone with all the books and stuff I've been reading. Trying to get stuff together for a few videos and cram Soul Wars. Good gravy. Let's see. Cody the Bear. Hey, Doug. Hey, Cody. Swashbucking here. Naked dude. Beard and weapons. Sounds like my weekend. Oh. That's funny. Okay. I'm just putting that second layer on. I'm trying to think of the different kinds of cloaks I want to have. I want to have a lot of browns, like the capes on these guys that are all fur. And I'm trying to think browns, whites, maybe on the leader or something, do a little bit more exotic. Maybe a leopard print or something like that. I don't know. We'll try it. They have the tutorial from doing the Noise Marine that looks pretty legit. Let's see. GHB, it has to be this 22nd of June earliest, contrast 15th. Yep, that's a great point. Yeah, I'm thinking it's the very, very end of the month, based on what they've kind of been, you know, the schedule they've kind of given themselves at this point. I think they learned from October that nobody likes stuff to be late. Oh, let's see. Cody Bear. I think we'll see a Gutbusters Battle Tome. Well, I'm torn. I mean, do I think we'll ever see like an Ogre Battle Tome? Like, yes, absolutely. At some point, I believe we will. Whether or not, I'm kind of curious if it's going to be just Gutbusters or if they're going to roll in Beastclaw Raiders. Because I'm of two minds about that. I mean, on one hand, I like the bigger books with more options to them. On the other hand, I like that they already established some background to them being by themselves. I don't know. But yes, I think the fact that Beastclaw Raiders exist is pretty good evidence that at some point there's going to be something with regular Joe Blow Ogres. I'm a Sylvaneth player and I've been enjoying the post-leak rules. Oh, great. That's awesome, dude. Opens a lot of flexibility in lists. Inspired me to finally pay money to Earth you. Sweet. Yeah, Cody, we were looking at the rules over on me and the Really Ones guys. Well, they looked into it and I said yes. But basically, If you bring a Tree Lord Ancient and a branch, I don't know if it's a witch or a wraith. Someone correct me because I can't remember. But they have a spell where on a 7, you can bring in a unit of dryads into a nearby Sylvaneth Wildwood. And the Tree Lord Ancient can plant a Sylvaneth Wildwood. And so the idea is for 380 points, you take the Wraith. Thank you, Omniphage. For 380 points, you grab a Tree Lord Ancient and a branch Wraith, throw down the forest, and then for the rest of the game, just keep barfing up dryads into it as much as humanly possible. And the thing is that's meant to combat the great big Stormcast weakness of having too few models. So you turn all the aggression up on your Stormcast up to 11, like say Celestial Vindicators like to do because they get bonuses when they charge. And the back line is secured by, or at least objectives are jumped on by dryads later on. So that is the list idea, generally speaking, that we're going for with that Sylvaneth game. It's going to be a while because my stipulation to doing it was that it can't come out before the Battle Tome drops, just as a show of respect. GW's been awesome about sending me advanced stuff, and I'm not looking to hop on anything. So do that, wait a little bit, but it will be a fun game regardless. Let's see. You got 6 chapters left? Okay, well, Kindle says I am only 33% way through the book, so I need to be reading. We're doing it on Sunday night, so I'll start promoting that. So, yeah. I mean, the good thing is I've already actually read the book, so it's one of those things that if it truly comes down to crunch time, I can gloss over it because I do remember all the battle scenes with that. It's more just the things that I'm really making myself excitedly reread in Soul Wars is the dialogue between Nagash and some other characters. I think it's just extremely well done. I think that's Josh Reynolds' strong point, but yeah, we'll cover that later this week. So Sunday evening, for those of you, special breaking news for this live chat only. We're doing another book club review of Soul Wars, just like we did for Black Talon. So yeah. Let's see. Pull some of the paint out here. Kind of got globbed in this little lion head thing. Here we go. Let's see. I was hoping that the new Sylvaneth Battle Tome would open up more options. I'm excited to play all my Revenants. Yeah, the Revenants are the Outcast line, like all the Spite Revenants and Droidcha, like they're definitely to me the more appealing models of that entire range. The Dryads don't really interest me, like I wouldn't really have any much interest in painting all of those. But yeah, all the new stuff they got is just super great. Let's see. Hope they combine Iron Jaws and Bone Splitters. Oh, that'd be an interesting combination. Oh, yeah. Can Stormcast be killed outside of a fight, like being drowned or getting sick? My understanding is yes. Yes, they are. What's special about them is that when they die, their souls arc back to Azir, but they can die from like, I mean, at least one fell from like fall damage, and if you can fall off in a cliff and die, I'm trying to think. I don't remember a specific story where someone drowned. But yeah, my understanding is yes. They're functionally like mortals when they're in the realms, walking around, chilling. Cody says it sounds like an awesome combo. Be careful of branch wraiths, though. I got 1 branch wraith, and then after 1 game, went out and bought 2 more the next day. That's funny. Yeah, I try to be careful. My goodness, that sounds fun. Let's see. Yusuf Al-Jalad. Tell me if I pronounced that correctly. New to the channel, can you explain this chat's thumbnail? Yeah, sort of. Basically, I just wanted a picture of a bunch of people together so I could Photoshop stuff. And so it was originally like a promotional photo for some place in Korea, I think. And I just hijacked it and I put my face, I put myself in the top corner and then replaced a bunch of the faces of people with like orcs, like Sigmar, just random stuff. So that explains the thumbnail. I should probably get a cooler hobby hangout image. I'll work on that tomorrow. But yeah, that was the idea. I was just like, make it seem like a group of people were all hanging out, and then have those people be ridiculous. Just me hanging out with orcs and stuff like that. Let's see. Omniphage just read the Slash FAQ. It's not too bad. They made some choices that are a touch odd but valid. Yeah, I mean, nothing in there was like, oh my god, the sky is falling. It was just like, okay, you've answered this question, but you generated more, and the shorter answers don't tend to help. So yeah, I didn't think it was bad at all, by any stretch. I'm trying to think of, there was one FAQ that came out. What was the one that like people just like their faces melted off? I can't remember what faction it was for. I don't recall. It was a while ago. FAQ came out and they clarified something incorrectly and people just lost their minds. I know like the base size thing was a big deal, and that it's not really an FAQ, but it's in the same format. But yeah. Carl freaking France. What up, Doug the Thug? That is my Christian name, Doug the Thug Griggs. It is not much. I'm just doing some base coats here on a few models. And at the same time, I've been cleaning off some paint brushes to restore them to their former glory. That's been going pretty darn well. Giving up viewers to Warhammer Weekly as everyone tunes in for their... I think they're talking about tournament stuff tonight, which is like, that's cool. It's not my wheelhouse, but that's cool. Okay, so almost done getting the teal built up. All right. So at this point, gotta wait just a little bit more because I do the Colia green shade. Now, as far as the unit goes, hello everybody, Learn, Train, Play, and Anonymous Plays Lives. Hello, hello. I'm excited to use these guys, mainly because if you played the old Fire Slayers, where they would run in, they just kind of be grindy, but the cool thing with the old Fire Slayers was like the axe throw. The axe throw actually accounted for quite a bit of damage when I was running them. And they went against me in my first event, the Battle of the Tower. Or second event, I'm sorry. So the axes can do quite a bit. Well, functionally, they're very similar in that sense because they have 2 wounds each, 4 up save, not bad stuff. But each one of them gets a gun that does 2 shots. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's similar in damage. So they can be, you can grind through them. They're not invincible by any stretch whatsoever, but they can do some damage. They can chip away pretty darn well. So yeah. Yusuf, any advice to get into narrative playing? This is my first tabletop hobby, and honestly, the lore brought me in. Key books to pick up. Well, probably the best book for you is the General's Handbook. I don't know if you own that one. Let me know if you do, but I'll show you one here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry, my book ran away. So this book is about 25 bucks. I'd hold off on buying it because there's a new one coming out really, really soon. They release it every year. Or go online and snag one of the older ones for dirt cheap because all of it's compatible. But they give you just all kinds of ideas to... Here's the narrative play section. You can create custom maps with extra rules once you get comfortable with your army. Different scenarios for you to play. Historical stuff to like recreate certain things. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. What I would say, let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me try to see if I can find it. Let's see. And this is super exciting to watch. Well, I definitely did a video about how to create narrative stuff, but I can't seem to find it. Give me 1 second here. Narrative. Oh yeah. So if you type in AOS narrative mission design, in today's video we're going to go here. Yeah, AOS narrative mission design, and basically with that one, Yusuf, I unpack the different ways and places that GW puts information to create narrative battle reports. So you can go to like the General's Handbook is a big one. The Army book for your army has some cool stuff in there, and just kind of explore the different things that each book has. So I would check that out. So AOS narrative mission design is the video. Go catch the fever. Yeah. Let's see. Anonymous Plays Live. Finally getting time to paint my Sylvaneth. Perfect time to tune this stream and chill with some cool peeps. Yeah. Let's see. Kenzie missed the narrative series. I'll get back into it. I actually had notes written up for, I think the video was like how to get your friends into narrative play if they're more like competitive and that kind of stuff. But I don't know, had to think about that one for a little bit more. The biggest thing is just like, you know, you can't define someone's way of having fun, but you can invite them to experiment with your way, and then pass it along. And, you know, if someone's more competitive, I don't know. So, yeah, let's see. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, wait, Alan Morales. Hey, Doug, what's up? I have a request if you could. Can you find out who's the person that created the 4 Chaos Powers and their lore? I tried GW, but Light Harley did not provide any info. I have no idea. These things have been... the backstory is, like, older than dirt. I have no clue whatsoever. They've been kind of building on the exact same lore and its foundations for a very long time. Okay, I'm just waiting for this to dry a little bit more before I throw some Colia Green Jade on there and wash it all away. Let's see. Carl, I've been listening to people talk about the new contrast paints. As a guy who struggles with painting myself, I'm pretty dang hyped for that one thick coat. Yeah, you know, I'm excited for it too. I really am. Not like 3 weeks of marketing blitz kind of excited. I'm getting kind of tired of the commercials. It's just like... what I said in my my friend's chat was like, enough foreplay, just give us the frickin' paints. You know, I'm tired of hearing about them. I want to start using them. So, Ryan Queering, hey Doug, coming from 40K, your videos have really helped me interest in the lore of AOS. Any novels that are a good starting point to dig in deeper? Right now, every month we pick a book and dive into it as part of our book club, and then do a big review at the end of the month. This month we're doing Soul Wars by Josh Reynolds, which is kind of going over the current narrative arc of the setting. So that's a great one. City of Secrets is also a really fun book. Those are probably the best two in terms of easy to read and very accessible, and also coming up with current events. Omniphage, the parts of me that have stat-based degree acknowledge that they should do a lot. Part of me that has seen those flames tickle on armored units disagree. Oh, talking about the Zinch fire. Yeah. Let's see. The gods are kind of borrowed. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that too much. I mean, honestly, a lot of the older stuff really is taken from other... you know, fantasy lines and then reappropriated and developed them more, and they kind of add more interesting flavor, unique flavor over time, and they are no different. Let me grab my wash here. Okay. Cool Green Shade. Short story books, Hammer Hall and Other Stories, and The Sacrosanct and Other Stories. Yes, those are actually really good starting points too. Basically, they took a whole bunch of smaller novels and combined them into singular tomes, if you will. And there's some cool stuff in there. Absolutely. I tend to like the more complete novel format, I guess is kind of the right word, but a lot of folks really like the Hammer Hall and Other Stories. Let's see. From what I can tell, there isn't much in the way of extra Seraphon lore outside their book. No, unfortunately, there really isn't. That I don't know if y'all remember this, but like a while ago, GW had like a writing contest, like to see if you could become a Black Library author or like that. And I started to write. When I say started to write, I wrote the outline for, and then got 2 paragraphs in, and was like, I'm not a writer of a Seraphon book, and it's simply because, like, there's just no like Black Library support for them. I mean, they pop up like in some short stories here and there, but not nearly as enough as that faction is cool enough to warrant. So yeah. Well, let's see. Uber Tolucci, oh, I pronounced that right. Need to read Soul Wars. Right now I'm reading Nagash Undying King. Solid choice. I think Nagash Undying King is probably one of my favorite books. It's simple. There's some cool characters. The ending's going to blow your mind whole. And it's just a ton of fun. It's a fun book. You know, it's one of those fun adventure books. Those are the best ones. Any idea if they got more love in Warhammer Fantasy Battles? Lizardmen? There weren't a ton of books because they weren't human, and so I think the authors have always struggled to write in human perspectives. And so, or perspectives, I think like I said it right. But, yeah, I don't know. Actually, I didn't play or read much during Fantasy Battles. I came into Fantasy Battles in the last like 9-ish months of it existing before it became AOS. So I'm not the authority on that. I just got really excited about AOS since no one else was talking about it, so I busted out my phone and started recording videos. Let's see. Brad Jimenez. Hello, folks. Heyo. Let's see. Carl friends, check out Callus and Tull. Just finished the audiobook. Oh yeah, I have not done that one yet. I think for the next round of voting I do for the patrons over on Patreon to vote for the next month's book, I think Callus and Tull is definitely going to be on there. I want to stick away from the bigger titles this time. Because the thing is, I'm realizing now, it's like, well, a lot of folks have already read Soul Wars. Not everyone, obviously, but want to explore the authors that don't get enough love. Let's see. Learn, Train, Play. I enjoy the War Queen short story. Picked it up and hardly put it down until I finished it. Yeah, War Queen was fun. What is the other one? The Red Hours. Sorry, it's sitting right next to me. I had to lean over and see it. The Red Hours is my favorite of those short stories by a pretty margin. Like I finished War Queen and I was like, man, these things are cool. This is a good idea. These little like teaser books that can just get people roped in. I dig it. But then I read the Red Hours and I was just like, oh no, this is another level. This is so incredible. And then I didn't care much for the Gotrek book, the one after that. But I think that's because I didn't listen to the audio drama. I feel like I constantly feel like I was missing something, and so I'm gonna go back and listen to that at some point, and then revisit the Gotrek book. We'll see. Let's see. Ooh, Tucci, I saw that Nagash and all the death characters, and a lot of it's your fault. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, they're They're a cool cast of characters over in the Death Camp. That sounds super dark. I'm not going to say Death Camp anymore, but in the Death Grand Alliance. Well, let's see. Lizardmen also suffered from having to be heavily written in. It's a border dispute in the Empire. Okay, so we can add some chaos for cultists, orcs everywhere. Lizardmen are 2k miles away. Yep. Yeah, I think when Seraphon the book dropped, I remember being very happy that they wrote them in such a way like, okay, now they have a reason to be anywhere. And they go amongst the stars. They can basically teleport, you know, do all kinds of stuff. Like, okay, that's a win, because that was always my problem with them reading about them in the old world, or, you know, trying to learn about them as I was like getting into the game, trying to learn about all the different factions. It just didn't seem like they had a reason to be anywhere but home. But with AOS, I just don't think they've used that. I don't know. They wrote themselves into a really good position and never took advantage of it. Like, now they can be anywhere. Cool. How many books have they been in? None. Okay. It's just like, why? You went through all the work to make them amazing and be everywhere, and now they're nowhere. Bummer. So, let's see. Learn, train, play. I should get on GW about some voice acting work. That's cool. Yeah, go for it. I don't know what department that would be anymore, but I don't know how they do that. Let's see. Favorite book of 40K. I'm trying to think of my favorite 40K book. It is honestly probably... I can't think of the name of it. It's the first of the Grey Knight series. And it's not an amazing book. It didn't age super well, but it was the one that got me hooked into like what Games Workshop is and all stuff like that. So I don't know. Let's see. Eisenhorn was my entry into Warhammer as a whole. It holds a special importance to me. Yeah. Those books are always the best. That one and the Ragnar Black Mane series for Space Wolves are all books that I was just like, this looks amazing. I want to play this game. And then once I got older, I was like, you know, I think I like the fantasy aesthetic more. So I started leaning towards fantasy battles, and then ultimately led me to AOS. There were some War Machine and Hordes in there too, somewhere. Let's see. Still imagine Seraphon be very well written in. Don't they have any reason to stay anywhere in the realms? Do they set up permanent bases? According to their current lore, no. But I want that to change desperately. They have no reason to set up permanent bases. That's true. But I more mean that, like, they're mobile enough that if there was something big going on, like Chaos was making a big move against something, they would have the ability and reason to be there. So it's true they don't have like territory, which is a bummer because defending stuff is it's pretty important. But for example, like there is the book, the short story, The Cosmic Gate, which follows a Tzeentch sorcerer as he tries to open a gate directly to Tzeentch's realm, and Seraphon pop in and shut that down. So like they didn't stay, they didn't defend anything, but they still popped in enough to be like, you shouldn't do that, and just totally beat the crud out of this guy. Let's see. Brad, are you excited for the contrast paints? I am excited to stop seeing marketing blitzes for them. And yes, I am also excited for the paints themselves. I am. I'm still going to do basically what you see me doing right now for my Stormcast, where I'm building up the teal and the shadows, kind of the, I guess now the old way, because I like the result I get more. I've seen the Celestial Vindicators turquoise that they got with the contrast paints. I mean, it looks great. It's just, it doesn't match what I've already done, and so I want to keep doing it this way. However, I do intend going forward for all the little bits and bobs that I don't want to do or don't want to deal with or stuff like that. Like, I do intend to basically get a model to this state and then paint over it with the contrast brush on paint, like the gray seer in a pot. Paint over it with that and then go back with contrast paint. So stuff, for example, like the little tassel, I guess, top knot on his head. Maybe even the fur, because I've seen some cool stuff with furs. They showed a Tau warrior that was white. Like the armor plates on him were white. And I thought that looked great, so that might be an easier way to you know, build up the white that I do on capes and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to incorporate them, but I'm going to use them as one more tool in the toolbox rather than like exclusively paint everything as contrast paints. So that's the theory. What's probably actually going to happen is that I will go on a mad army trading bender and paint everything in a week, and I don't know, end up homeless or something like that. I don't know what's going to happen to me. Because now that this, you know, achievement's been unlocked where I can crank out armies even faster, that doesn't help. My problem is army swapping. Let's see. Yusuf, you think there is potential for Grand Alliance shuffling? Well, I think the first step to seeing any Grand Alliance shuffling is already happening with mercenaries. I would like there to be Grand Alliance shuffling. Ideally, I would love it if humans could work for anybody. Because lore-wise, they do. There's, you know, savage tribals all over Gur that are human. There's, from Nagash Undying King, there's humans that are utterly dedicated to Nagash and view him as Stormcast views Sigmar kind of thing. You know, like, you know, righteous deity and everyone else is an intruder kind of thing. So, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, mercenaries was a way to move generally slowly over time in that direction of introducing those kinds of things. But I do think they require a lot of thought and a lot of work to not balance, because they can be narrative stuff, that's fine, but I mean just make them engaging. Because, like, if you just took free people and you deleted the word order from their war scroll and put death, for example, like making them a death faction, they don't add anything specifically. Like, they don't become any more or less fun. They're still just the free people with the same synergies. They just can do different allies, and that's fine, but I want like more. I want like more narrative reasons as to why these things would work together, or these death factions, that kind of stuff. So Ryan Coring, how much do you use GW's paints? Is most of your... Oh, is it most of my colors or just some? It's most of them. When I was back in Iowa, so I've had most of my paints for years. When I was back in Iowa, the hobby store almost basically exclusively had GW paints. It was kind of their preferred line. So they didn't have like P3 or Vallejo really back then. And so I stocked up on those. You know, when I was getting into the hobby, you go out and you buy all the stuff you need to paint with. And so I just kind of been using those same pots for a long time. And just recently, as I've started to need things, I'll start experimenting here and there. You know, for example, like this exact teal is Hydro Turquoise from Army Painter, and I love it. I love it because I couldn't find the right color with G-dubs. But these guys are it to the core. And then some stuff is just GW because I think it's better. Like, I love Lead Belcher more than any other company's metallics. Just love it. Love it to death. Yeah. Okay. Boom. Primed, based, washed, armor. Dig it. And how's our paintbrushes looking? Ooh. I don't know if you can see it, but that color used to be perfectly clear. Let me see what the camera sees. It's got this weird yellow hue to it, and it's like full of crap in there. It's all the paint that got lodged inside these brushes. Yum. Okay. They're looking good. I might do a full video of this. I'll get another paintbrush all gnarly looking and do a full review. Let's see. Gotta get back to work. Channel is great, man. Looking forward to the next lore series. Thank you so much. Bad brush daddy. That's funny. I'm actually going to hop off here pretty soon as well. Gotta go cook some dinner for the missus. Because keeping her happy keeps the channel going more than you know. And let's see. I'm going to throw this in there. We'll throw a little more acetone just to get the level a little higher. Boop. Sweet. Is that water you're using? So I'm using water to like thin my paints, but this, I'm actually cleaning them for the first time. I wanted to try something new. And this is actually nail polish remover, 100% acetone to burn off some of the paint. Don't recommend it for everything, but saw a tutorial on YouTube and it seems to be working out pretty well for me so far. So that is the plan. So friends, thank you all so much for joining me. I will chat with you on Friday morning. I'll be doing a live show so that I can catch some of my European friends over there. This week's kind of a slow one because I got to get caught up on producing notes for videos and reading and that kind of stuff. So I was just feeling a little overwhelmed this week. I was just like, I need to step back and make quality content instead of a lot of it. We don't need a lot of crap out there. So anyway, I'll talk to you all very, very soon. See you Friday for some more painting and hobby. We'll get some more Vanguard stuff done, and I'll catch you next time.